Boom.
Yes. Lukey boy, how are we, sir?
Good evening, Jack. Very, very well. Thank you for asking. Apologies for lateness, everybody. I know you're probably used to seeing Jack a little bit earlier and a little less tired, but yeah, my bad on that one. We were just chatting off the record and we got a bit deep, didn't we?
We did instantly. There's no messing about with it, is there? To be fair, as soon as the boyos turn up, it's on, innit? So, and to be fair, you won't look late, Luke. I were waffling on. Don't fear. But how have you been, man? You keeping well?
Yeah, not too bad. Back into the gym.
Yeah, I want to say you're getting healthy and that, aren't you? Keeping fit.
Yeah. Looking, just want to try. I'm actually going on a stag do to somewhere in Portugal.
That
in May.
For fitness, will it?
Well, no, it's not. Yeah, but I want to look relatively decent. You know what I mean? While I'm playing golf in like, Chicago Bears or whatever it is, Chicago Bulls vest and all that. See, I don't even watch basketball, but I'll certainly be wearing all the vests and representing.
Yeah. Whereabouts do you say you're going? Sorry, dude.
Somewhere in Portugal. I can't remember. Is it Albufeira? Maybe is that quite party area?
To be fair, I'm asking, and my geography's not the one. So
I've just booked it, Jack. I'm one of these who, if somebody said, "Do you want to go on a stag do?" and it tickles me, tickles my taste buds a little bit, then I jump in balls deep.
To be fair, there's no better than a stag do, is there?
No, I've had my fair share recently as well. To be fair, I've been to Prague, Prague, Tenerife in the last. I went to Prague in November, December time, and then Tenerife, January, February time. So, just wild, mate. But all my mates seem to be getting remarried as well. It's not the first marriages, so it sort of puts you off a bit, doesn't it?
Devalues it a touch, doesn't it? I'd say.
Yeah, just love wedding cake, I think.
Yeah. I think some of my mates were just looking for an excuse to get away from Bird when they got married, to be honest.
we once told everybody that it was my brother's 30th and we were going to Lloret de Mar. We were going out to watch some rugby league when Wakefield Trinity played out there against Catalan, and all the missuses thought it was Jake's 30th. He was about fucking 34 at the time.
Yeah, he's been 30 every year.
Yeah,
past 5. Yeah, man. Good stag do's. Yeah, so into a bit of Leeds talk, big lad. What do you reckon to weekend? We've just had Farke's press conference, haven't we?
Yeah, I listened to it live while I was working earlier on. Really positive, I thought.
He's good, isn't it? Do you like him in press conferences, Luke?
I do. I really do rate him in the press conferences because he tells you enough without telling you too much, doesn't he? And he's not any. I wouldn't say he's no nonsense. He doesn't dodge any questions. But he's quite straight laced, and he does tell you as much as you need to know without giving the full picture away. Because he'll know what sort of state Willie Nonto's in, and if he's going to actually be able to play on the grass this weekend, or whether he's not going to play on the grass. But he's not going to give that away in a presser 2 days before we play Swansea City, because there's going to be Swansea City people looking at that presser and dissecting it. So I do rate him. I think sometimes he can waffle a little bit and he'll go on about stuff that's probably not even relative. But I do also like that about him. I like that he's a little bit spontaneous and he does go a little bit off piste and that. So I do rate him. In terms of the news, really, really positive, mate. I think for me, and I said this on Joe's show, on our show, that this break has come at the better time for us rather than the other two in the chase. And the very fact that we've come through it relatively, I know Firpo wasn't due back until sometime this early afternoon or mid-afternoon, but we've come through relatively unscathed, minus Nonto's injury.
He sort of alluded to it not being that bad though, didn't he, Farke? So
he did. But again, was that to throw off the scent? With the good 45 minutes he put in at QPR, Swansea might be thinking, actually, I think if Willie Nonto's fit, he might get a start over him, and actually might not be fit anyway. So, it's positive, mate. I don't think there's a lot we can really take out of it other than positivity going into one of the more favourable fixtures of our last 8 for me.
Yeah, definitely. It's a big one. Like you say, we're international because everybody's gone a bit over the top, I think, with how we crumbled last year after international. And I think I've said it for so many weeks, but like we were on the charge to get towards top at league last time. We've been holding top at league this time. we're a lot more solid. I feel a lot more comfortable about it. I know we're not on the greatest form, but I honestly think going into the last 8 games now, everybody will be back. Everybody will be buzzing to be back. And I think it's like not let it happen again, basically. So it's 8 cup finals, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't like that term because we're shit in cup finals, but yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah. So for me, I think the reality is that there's, you know, we're going to go into this period now, top of the league. You know, we weren't in that situation last time. I think we were, but Leicester had a game in hand and they played it straight after, and they went back top. If memory serves me right, I'm sure somebody in your comments will correct me if I'm wrong, but we did go into it top. But the amount of energy we must have used to do that chase on Ipswich and Leicester and actually get back into the race for it. I mean, you know, we're a different animal this season for me, Jack. And I just think, you know, those comebacks, and I don't think the form's been great of late. I don't by any stretch think the form's been great, even probably since. Look, I still think they're probably 2 of the best results this season at Sunderland and at Sheffield United and at home to Sunderland. But no, vice versa, at home to Sunderland and away to Sheffield United, wasn't it? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
I still think there were 2 of arguably the best results, and that might actually see us clinch the division title based on those late comebacks. But the form hasn't been great over the last 4 or 5. You know, other than the who do we play in the middle of there? Was it Millwall at home?
I can't remember who we beat. It was comfortable, wasn't it? Though? Yeah, Millwall. Yeah, it was
2-0. Was it 2-0?
Yeah, it was a comfortable game. That good second half on it. Because I thought we were back on bandwagon there, but that was last game and it lost but 1.
Yeah, but other than that, I don't think the form's been great probably over the last 5. So minus that one particular game, and I don't think it has been great. So I think there was some tired legs. I think there was some leggy performances from some of our better players and bigger players and players you expected to see step up. And also that's coincided with Ampadu being out the team as well, who hopefully we can welcome back. Even if not in playing time capacity, he'll be in the squad of some sort.
I think that makes a difference as well. I'd be an advocate a while ago to say how much it doesn't really matter in the middle of the season, like going, what's the point in bringing him on at right back? But just how we've been, it's like I just think it's a big boost. It's like coming towards end of the season, you don't know if he's getting back. It's like he's here. Do you know what I mean? It's like because he does add that stability for us, and I genuinely think he is the club captain. And I know physically he is, but that doesn't mean he delivers that. But I do think he does deliver that. Obviously, it's a guess that, but. He seems that type of leader, doesn't he?
Absolutely does. You might remember. I mean, you probably won't because I only just remember. Well, you might do actually. You might have a better memory than me, but it doesn't take a lot. But you might remember the season in the Premier League when Coops was out injured, and I think it was the second season of Bielsa when we just stayed up, and then Coops came back in the team and steadied the ship. And he's not the best defender in the world, and Ampadu was a far better footballer than Liam Cooper. But he just came in, and the players just, you could just see there was that camaraderie again and that belief that there was a result or 2 in there with him leading us. Look, he had as many mistakes in him as he did good performances. But I really do think there's a lot to be said for a good leader on the field, especially at Leeds United, because the old saying, and it is true, the weight of the Leeds United badge and the shirt is heavy, and the expectation is very high for a fan base and for a team that hasn't done that much really over the last few years. So, well, for a long time, if we're sort of talking top division. So, Ampadu being back is going to be a massive plus for us. And hey, you done half recover quickly, doesn't he?
Yeah, I know, because it's been alluded to that, and it always got back. I just want to say as well, look, what do you think to Cooper? Because I always never could understand. Like I could see. I know we'll talk about this a bit later with current players, but I can see the frailties in Cooper, obviously. But I never understood. Like, is that type of? I thought he was that type of Leeds player. I always loved Cooper anyway, and I liked. So what if he makes a few mistakes, whatever? He gave 100%. I like it, but I thought traditionally, like as I was growing up, that's what Leeds fans loved. Love somebody that would go like head everywhere, big tackles, I thought it like personified. I know Dallas was a better footballer than Cooper, but Dallas was very similar in his like work ethic and like there was never anything less than 100% given. And Cooper had injured himself going up football, and he actually got some important goals from stuff. So I never understood it.
I think the memory of Cooper's tainted somewhat in that, we probably held on to him maybe a season too long, or two maybe
replace
even.
Him, in my opinion, though, Luke.
No, he was very, very.
With Farke, he was to move on. He needed to move on at that point.
Yeah, and I think it is probably tainted. I think we probably are looking at it slightly through, or certainly memories are through that of what a blinkered vision, because look, he wasn't great in the last season with us in the games that he did play. He did make a few mistakes, but absolutely what you say. Yeah, he did. He was looked at, that bit slower. He was picking up a lot of injuries and that. But I'll forever hold Cooper in high regard. What he did for that team, what he brought for that team, and the very fact that he was the captain that got us promoted back to the Premier League after 16 years. So absent, he'll be remembered fondly, but by few, I think.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It just surprised me that we needed that type of captain as well at the time, and he just, I don't know. The couple of my mates that had normally be all over a centre back like that. That's all I'm trying to make out. Big tackles and that, but couldn't stand him. But I also think there's we'll talk about Twitter in a minute, but as it ramps up on Twitter, the narrative comes and then it stays, doesn't it? It sticks. Aaronson's going through it now. Joseph's going through it, both on both sides, and the narrative stuck with Cooper, didn't it? So my mate would blame Cooper even if he wasn't there. Do you know what I mean?
Melier went through it. I mean, Melier deservedly a couple of times. But if you remember, Junior Firpo went through it for ages, for arguably that full first season he was here. We'd signed this left back from Barcelona, and everyone was like, "What the fuck have we done here? Who is this guy? Is he like won a competition to come and play for Leeds?" And look, let's be real. He wasn't great at defending, but in a team that's going forward, he looks an absolute different breed, doesn't he? So
he looked a bit like he didn't know where he were himself at first, though. Did he? To be fair, he was sort of like pottering about, just looking around.
But in fairness, he'd come from a team that where he played almost as a winger. And then been asked to play as a left back who's going to have to defend for, especially in the Premier League, in our team, he had to defend for probably 80% of the games. So, look, we do have a massive issue and a massive problem, I think, in certainly in the online fan base. It's quite different in the grounds. You do hear the odd murmurs about particular players and people who don't rate particular players, but certainly online we have this outlook that you've either got to rate somebody or not, and there's no middle ground. Like, actually, you can't rate somebody and say they've just had a bad game. They're either shit or they're great. You know what I mean? We don't really have that moral middle ground.
Yeah, which would you say you sit in?
I do, yeah, I would, yeah.
Because I think I do, and I think we talk as objectively as possible. And I'm aware that I'll be slightly more biased. I stick up for them more than I slag them off, I think.
Likewise, yeah.
So I think I can talk enough about. I think I can say negative things without meaning I hate them. Do you know what I mean? So it's such a strange.
Yeah.
Because we'll talk about Joseph if you're up for it, Luke. So I know it's a funny thing on Twitter. It's just funny on your Twitter because obviously you get a lot of engagement and stuff, and you are constantly on wind up, and I love it. It's the funniest thing ever, man. Honestly, I think it's ace, and because everybody does go for you, and then
they bite, don't they? Like, do you know what I mean? It's quite entertaining.
It's awesome. That's the only reason I go on there. I think I just go through your tweets. But what are your actual thoughts on Joseph?
So I mean, if I'm being completely honest here, the majority of the time I am baiting people with regard to Joseph. I absolutely rate him as a footballer based on his potential. The argument started and the conversation and the to and fro started with a particular group of fans right back at the start, middle of the season. Probably a bit earlier, with regards to who should be our starting number 9, and that was simply about me saying that Pirou is a better number 9 than Mateo Joseph right now, which is completely true, and I still stand by and believe that. Mateo Joseph got the nod after a great pre-season. Myself included, thought that he was going to go on and absolutely smash the championship this year. He had his opportunity over those first 7 games and was arguably quite poor. He got a goal or two and a couple of assists, but he wasn't returning. He was missing some gilt-edged chances that Pirou would have probably scored. And would Pirou have been in the right place at the right time? We can never guess that. We can never argue with that. But what Pirou has shown is since he's been back in the team, he's gone through some purple patches where he's scored loads and where he's, but he's also gone through some real dry patches where he's struggled to get on the score sheet. So, the thoughts on Joseph, just going back to the actual first question. I rate him. I do rate him. I think he will be a very, very good footballer in the future. I think he tries far too hard. I think the weight of the shirt is too heavy. I think he had a great performance at Chelsea, which didn't help him because the expectation of the fan base was far too high then, which was a great performance, by the way. I just think that Mateo Joseph probably needs a little bit more time as a number 2. Or if we go up, if I was recruitment at Leeds, I would be looking to replace Peru with a starting number 9. Drop Peru as a backup to come on and get you a goal if you need it. And then I'd look at probably loaning Mateo Joseph out for a full season in the Championship as a starting number 9.
I agree. I think with Joseph, right, what happened, and I don't think Farke ever buckles, to be fair. I think he thought, let's go for it. It's your year this year. He played well every time off at bench last year. If we'd have started with Paral-Parisley up top at the start of this season and done what we did last season and brought Joseph on, there'd have been a massive clamber still to get Joseph on, and that would have been the reason why any points dropped would have been Farke's fault. What happened was Farke had to bring Peru into the side because Peru couldn't stop scoring, which is just a fact, in it. Joseph wasn't scoring and Peru was scoring. Like you said, Peru's a better number 9 now. If Joseph had been the number 2, I think everybody would have still been in love with him, but they'd have just been blaming Farke for it. I personally don't think, because everybody's asking for patience and stuff with Joseph. Like, I don't know why he deserves more patience than anybody else, number 1. Number 2, I don't know if you can be patient with centre forwards, to be honest.
Not if you wanted to win the league, Jack. Not if you wanted to win the league and get promoted out of this league. Patience, great. If you're middle of the pack and you've not got a lot to play for this season, play him. If we had nothing to play for, but we're out of the playoffs and we definitely weren't getting relegated out of a particular league, give him some minutes, absolutely. But it's not now. Is not the time for experimenting, and it certainly isn't. It isn't the time for. It certainly isn't the time for making changes just to give somebody more minutes. I've seen some people, and I'm going to sort of go off on a bit of a tangent here, but I've seen people saying, drop Solomon because he's not our player. Give the minutes to somebody who's just as good, but is actually our player. Why would you do that when it's working so well? Look, he hasn't been scoring or assisting, but actually on another day, he should have got 2 against QPR. On another day, he should have had far more assists. Could players finish the dinner? So it's one of them. And I listened to Farke and I almost agreed with everything he said today in the presser. Take each game as it comes. We'll play our best 11 in his thoughts in every game. We won't be thinking about resting players now at this stage of the season, and we will play. We'll base it off the recovery data, and if players have recovered well enough to play and start the next fixture, we will play that player, and we will start our best 11 according to that fixture, which I completely rate. We
get stuck, I think, online, particularly between like having to get out the Championship, and that is the only thing that we have to do. And then sort of being like kind to other players and like giving, like say, players minutes. If Solomon's the best winger at the club right now, or him and James, they're starting, who cares whether Solomon's in? We're either playing to go up, like you say, or we're just playing to just give, like you say, if we're out of playoffs and you just think, well, yeah, what's point in playing Bamford and Peru at this point? What's point in bringing Bamford back from injury? But I can genuinely see, and I get pellets for it, I can see a reason in these last 8 games, if you can get 10 minutes out of Bamford in one of these games, I think it's worth bringing him back. That is not me saying I want him to be a feature here in the Premier League, our main number 9 again. I think them days are obviously done. But while ever he's at the club and we are challenging, you can't tell me that Bamford can't give us 10 minutes towards end of a game and be effective.
I think for me with Bamford, I agree. The thing I think with Bamford is he's most effective even when he's not scoring, when he starts a game and he's pulling players around. Yeah, he does almost what Mateo Joseph does, but he's an older, more experienced Ed. Yeah. He does miss some gilt-edged chances, but I even have my I would have a bet on Bamford scoring a couple of the chances that Mateo had missed. But again, it's confidence, isn't it? When a striker's scoring, it's very easy to continue scoring because you're in a rich vein of form, and it's a confidence game. But I'm almost positive if Mateo Joseph got 2 or 3 goals, he would go on a nice purple patch for us. But it isn't the time, as you quite rightly point out there, that we're in a position now where what we've been doing has got us to this stage at this stage of the season. There is 8 games left. It's it's a very, very small portion of the season left to go now, and if he starts making changes now and they don't work, then it's everyone's for Farke's head then.
Well, Farke, I mean, I want, just in these last games, I know Farke's proper not indecisive, to be fair. I think he makes his decisions and he will stick by it. I think people mistake that for a bit of stubbornness, and I don't think it is particularly stubbornness. I think there's obviously an element where you have to be relatively stubborn as a football manager because you're going to die anyway, aren't you? He's going to end up getting sacked anyway, so it might as well be his decisions. But I've been saying for like 2 weeks now in this break, whatever decision he makes now in these last 8 games, I just want him to stick to this weekend. I don't want him to start changing it up, chopping it up, like say experimenting, messing about. Just go. I'm going to back whatever Farke does. I'll back it all the way to the end of the season. And if we fall into the playoffs and we don't go up, Farke goes, doesn't he? So
Absolutely. And he's part and parcel a bit of football manager. He knows he isn't here for the longevity of the club. He knows the fans will be here much longer than him. He knows players will probably be here much longer than him. You know, he's here with one job, and his job is to get us out of this league. Right now, that is his prime objective, to get us promoted through nook or crook out of this championship. If he fails to do that a second time, Jack, I have to agree with you. I think he's had his chance. I don't think they give him another chance next season. But on the flip side, I don't expect us to fail this season. I truly don't.
I was just going to ask you that, Luke. What do you actually think our chances of promotion are?
I said about reckon top. Yeah, I think 75-25 as it stands. I think there's still a little bit of PTSD in there from previous seasons. But that's more of a Leeds fan. That's not necessarily as a Daniel Farke's Leeds. I know we failed last season when it came to it, but that was a different kettle of fish. You had 2 teams run away with it last season, and we managed to dig down and grind out and catch up, and then we failed at the very final hurdle at Wembley.
Do you know, Luke, sorry to interrupt you. I reckon if we'd not gone on that crazy run, I honestly don't think there'd have been that expectation there for us. I don't think it'd have been like we crumbled, because with the pot, I think everybody knew at the start of the season what had gone wrong. It wasn't Farke's fault. And then we showed how excellent we could be, got there up with them, and then we allegedly bottled it. I just think we'd just peaked. It had just gone. We'd gone over edge of hill. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you're quite possible. We'll never know for definite, will we? But I also maintain that had we not gone on that mad run and put pressure on Ipswich and Leicester, people probably wouldn't have expected us to go into that playoff final necessarily win it. But players might have had a bit more in them as well towards the end. We beat Norwich comfortably in the playoffs, didn't we? As well, which probably didn't help our. Well, it should have helped our confidence, but in a sort of roundabout way, it probably didn't. So yeah, look, it's there's no use crying over spilt milk. What happened. This season's this season. I do believe we're a different breed, a different animal this season. Mentally, physically, and far more balanced across every position in the field.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're stronger. I think we've come across stronger all season as well. For the whole season. It's not like there's been. I know if we're classing this as a poor patch, drawing a couple in last 5, drawn 2, won 2, lost 1 in last 5 games. I know that's very indifferent, but that's championship form half the time.
Lost 1 in 18, I think, haven't we? Was it 18 games? I think we've lost 1.
Yeah, it'd be more, won't it now? Be 20, 21, maybe 20. Thought it were 18 when we lost. Thought we lost 1 in 18 when we lost, and we've played 2 since then.
Right, yeah. So lost 1 in 20.
Yeah, which is mad. It's crazy. And then I would imagine if you go further back than that, we've only lost 4 all season. So it's
there's lots of good patches in there, isn't there? But I mean, in the very fact that fans are so disjointed and disillusioned about a draw, sometimes when you go, when we're picking up points, people don't appreciate those points. Had we not picked up those points and lost those games, we wouldn't be top of the league now. Do you know what I mean? If we'd have lost at I can't even think off the top of my head who we drew against, who we probably should be beating. Early on in the season, we played Plymouth, didn't we, at home, or Pompey, one of the two, 3-3 draw.
First game at season, wasn't it?
Yeah, first game, 3-3 draw. You know, we probably could have lost that on another day. But we could have won it as well. You know, like there's been recent seasons where we would have lost those games. And it's the game of football. You're never going to win every game of football. If you put the best 11 footballers in every position on a field, they will still get beaten by a team of not as good quality. They simply will. Not every game and not very often, but it will happen. You look against Manchester City with 10 men at the Etihad. How often is that ever going to happen in history? That game could have probably been played in those situations 100 times and we would have lost 99 of them. But we beat them, and people don't necessarily give plaudit enough to actually the opposition. Sometimes I think we discredit and probably don't pay them enough flowers, to be honest. You know, but give them enough because they are professional footballers. They're there to play football as well. But yeah, they're not just playing against the Orson Jockey or the Jolly Miller pub or whatever else. It's reality. So. I think we've got to keep our heads screwed on. Farke has said, Annie, that we win our 4 home games. We're definitely not going to lose 4 in a row away. So he thinks those 4 will be our foundation for going up this season, which I tend to agree.
Yeah, I would just because Anthony Callary put that, dude. So our home games, obviously Swansea, Preston, Stoke, and then Bristol. So there's only really Bristol there that you'd think were a. I mean, there's a couple fighting for stay out of relegation zone and stuff, but I think we get them 4 done.
That'll play into our hands as well, though, Jack, because they'll have to come and try and win. And
they're going to need points more than
Yeah, and that's absolutely. That's where we tend to play our better stuff against sides that come and have a go, especially at Ellen Road, because we've just got too much quality in the transition, you know, going forward and counter attacking and things. But it will be dangerous, and there's going to be times where we're probably not in the position that we want to be in. We're just got to stick with it and hope that, you know, trust in Farke and his team choices, his substitutions, and everything else. Look, we're allowed to be upset about a decision that he makes, or maybe have some, you know, a little bit of a moan now and then, I suppose, but leave it at that. Just because you have a moan about somebody doesn't necessarily mean that you fucking hate the guy.
Yeah, it's like you can have a bit of a meltdown about something, can't you? You know, when you get beat, you can get raggy and you can get, and this ain't right and that ain't right. But ultimately, you know, an hour later or the day after, you should have chilled out a bit about it, really, and gone like, well, we've lost a game here, yeah, but having said that, we've had an amazing season. So, I mean, and then still, I'm still saying we have to go up champions. I mean, you said on Just Joe's weeks ago, Luke, and it's resonated with me. You think it'd be a failure if we don't go up as champions, don't you? I said that.
Yeah, I do. I do believe that. I believe that in the position. I believe that, and I believe that with the. I won't be too gutted if we go up second.
I won't be bothered.
I won't be gutted at all.
No,
but I still think it will be an opportunity missed to go up as champions, because I think we are by far and away the best side in this division. Look, we've had some funny results against us. That's football, as I said, as we spoke about. But we are different to the rest of this league. I think probably on starting 11s, there are a couple of teams that are similar, but the depth that we've got and the players that we've got on our bench that we can bring on and against other sides, in, you know, Ramazani not getting much of a kick, Nonto to come on off the bench. You've got Spanish under 21s who's scoring goals for fun for the 21s whose name escapes me. But yeah, we've just, you know, we've got some real quality in that on that bench.
Yeah, and I know it don't come down to style. You know, Tottenham played decent football previously, haven't they? And, you know, West Ham and all that, and they tend to muck. But just the whole thing about us, we are the most dominant side in every game. There's a lot of Sheffield United games where I know they get the job done, and I get so many pelts for saying, well, they get the job done. Like, yeah, well, whatever. But if we control games, don't they? There's a lot of times when Sheffield are up against it. I actually don't think we get credit, you know, for being a little bit. We actually sit in a little bit. There's this idea that if we don't have all the ball, we don't win games. We can sit in and like hold and just be like, well, you go on then, break us down. And I can't remember the game off the top of my head, but it was away. It must be 6-7 games ago. And I was literally like, I thought it was a bit of a tactic of ours, to be honest, that we gave them the possession, let them have the ball, and just like, well, you break us down then, because they were playing the low block thing. It's like, well, you have it for 10 minutes then. and they ended up either pumping it long or trying to move the ball around and making mistakes at back. It's like, we are good as a unit, as selves. So.
Certainly are, mate. Yeah, well, I mean, we don't break sort of defensive records and all that. I mean, Farke's broke so many records since he's been here.
Crazy.
Which still absolutely baffles me that people said to us on our pod this week. He was, I can't remember the guy's name. I do apologize, but he said, "I'm proudly Farke out." I said, "You are you would get rid of your manager with 8 games to go, being top of this division, having played the way we've played all season," and he's quite happy to say that he's Farke out. Farke out almost seems like it's a political movement now. Do you know what I mean? It's not just I think we should get rid of him because he's absolute dog shit and he hasn't brought anything to the club. He's broken records left, right, and centre. Yes, he's had a good squad, but there was 3 good teams came down from the good teams. Three teams came down from the Premier League last season. Thankfully, one of them has been dog shit this season and absolutely fallen off a cliff. They've actually picked up a bit of form. That game worries me slightly, but we're above the other 2.
Yeah. I don't get it. I don't. Also, like, if you don't get the job done, you don't get the job done. But I don't think his time here it'll be a failure in the sense that he didn't get us up. But we can't suggest we haven't had some amazing moments with him. We've had some serious managers over the years, haven't we, that have been, it's been embarrassing, hasn't it? And one thing Farke hasn't done, even if he doesn't get the job done this year, which I really believe he will, he hasn't embarrassed the club, has he?
Nah, not like David Hockaday.
Oh no, Jesse Marsch. I was going to actually that was meant to be my last question to you. I was going to say, what do you actually think of Jesse Marsch? If you had to just put it into a few words, but we might as well drop it now. Yeah, do it now.
Do you know what? Jesse Marsch as a person was a pain in the ass. Like, to listen to the stuff he said was just absolute drivel. But as a manager, I felt things were improving and things were going in the right direction. The things just didn't happen. I thought we were quite unlucky under Jesse Marsch quite a lot of the time in terms of results and games going against us well that we probably could have won. Would I have him as a manager again? Absolutely not.
I thought it would dreadful, man. I couldn't do all the shit talk, when he's coming out.
What about when he did that celebration when we scored?
Yeah, no, don't, man.
Was it Liverpool? Was it Somerville?
Yeah, it must have been. It last minute, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that when he used to point at his watch all the time when keeper at ball or whatever.
It was annoying. Don't get me wrong. I'm not. And
then skinny jeans, dude. Yeah. Stuff like that matters to me. I'm
not for one second suggesting that he was a tactical genius or anything.
I think you are.
No, I'm absolutely not. Actually, if you look at the games that we lost under Jesse Marsch, there was an argument for us getting points or drawing those games, and the same games we drew, we probably could have won as well. But that's football. That could be argued. You could say that for David Hockaday's games. You know what I mean? But anyway, it is what it is. He won't be remembered fondly at this club ever, which is probably right. But he did He did guide Canada to beat the USA the other night against Poch.
So I know. I saw that. That's why it popped up. Because I saw your tweet. As I say, there's not many tweets of yours I missed, and I saw it. So he's beat Poch. So I thought, well, I'll have to ask him. You seem like a Jesse Marsch fan. My thing with Marsch, man. To be honest, I'll back him. And if it's a bit shit or whatever, but I just wish he'd have got here and just kept his mouth shut and got on with the job. Yeah. But he was straight into media, and I don't like that as a person. Do you know what I mean? I don't like.
Oh, yeah, he was annoying. He was annoying.
I mean, I know it's ironic me saying that because I'm on YouTube having a chat with you now.
And the fact he mentioned Marcelo a lot as well, which was quite undermining. Do you know what I mean? He was like, the players were tired and overworked. That's because they were playing to win, and they were playing a certain style, and it worked for us for however long. But yeah, White Steak Bites is probably right. He's a typical second-hand car salesman who gets a job, almost like a Wayne Rooney. Get a job, you know what I mean? Because they'll get jobs for different reasons. With Rooney because of his name, and Marsch.
At least Rooney's earned that.
Yeah, through playing. Yeah.
I mean, he don't deserve. They don't whether they deserve managerial roles or not. Another question in it, I suppose. But I sort of don't mind Rooney. To be fair, he just does whatever he wants, doesn't he? I think by it seems of him. He's funnily enough with all ex-Man U players. Obviously, used to despise him in the 90s, and then as they've come out over end, I mean, Neville gets some in there, but I like Keane.
I like Roy Keane because he hates the scum. He hates him, and he hates Fergie as well. You know, he just ridicules him whenever he's on the telly. Which is fair. Like, and it's quite good to hear. But if they do find a glimmer of success, you know, I'll jump on that bandwagon as well, though. So But yeah, at the moment, I quite like Roy Keane.
Yeah. What do you reckon if we go up? What do you reckon? Obviously, I know everybody just says, "Oh, finish 17th, you'd take it," and I know that's the right thing to say, but I'm not sure that's a true thing to say because that's awful, isn't it? I don't want to go down, but you're still getting battered every week. It's just, if we're being honest, do you know what I mean? What do you think we can do? Because when we went up with Bielsa, I don't think we can achieve that again.
No, and to even replicate something similar, we'd have to spend an absolute fortune on the squad under Daniel Farke. I think it'll be interesting to see Daniel Farke get backed in the Premier League because he hasn't been before. When he's had 2 opportunities with Norwich, they were quite happy to play the yo-yo club, get their parachute payments, and then bounce back up either in a year or 2. But they've actually blown that this time, so they're absolute dog crap, and they've spent all the parachute money. So that sort of method has got a certain shelf life. But I think 17th would be awful because you'd be up in and out the relegation zone probably the majority of the season, and look, we've got to hope that when we do go up, if we go up, that we're better than the 2 teams that come up with us probably, and then there is at least one team that has a stinker of a season, which is very tough. You know, I think Wolves are 6 or 7 points clear of 18th, Ipswich in 18th now. So there is a real divide. I think realistically, with the right backing, and if Farke gets it right, we've seen that the recruitment team have done well, certainly in this window. I think we could probably go top end of the bottom half, maybe 13th, 14th in our first season back.
And I think that's I mean, I know, like you just said, points difference. That's a huge difference, I know, in points, but in terms of the league, it's not. But that's such a different season, isn't it, to 17th? Yeah. That's basically what we're saying, isn't it? Because if you end up between 12th and 14th, you've had an amazing season in terms of highlights, and we've had some mint days at Ellen Road there, and we've had some mint away days. You know, 17th's like really you're getting pumped every week, aren't you?
Yeah, you absolutely are. 17th would be. I mean, because you're going to go watch your team every week, probably lose or draw at best, even at that level. Even at 17th, you know, you probably get the odd win at home if you're lucky. You're probably aiming for around about probably for 40 points or something to finish 17th. I reckon maybe 39 for 40 points, which is, I mean, over 38 games ain't fun.
No. The only way I'd take that 17th, Luke, is if we was mint at the start of the season for say 12 games and we've done really well, and then all after that, and you think, oh well, it turned to shit. But I'd take like a really decent patch where we actually go into 10th and 12th, and then just gradually like slip into 17th, and then it's like 4 games to go comfortably. Sort of, I'd be all right with that at 17th. I don't think it's a. But I suppose there's something to last day staying up, isn't there? There's no better than that. But it's just
the Brentford game was will go down in history for me. I was watching it in the the Oak in Headingley? What's it called? The Summit Oak?
Yeah, I don't know.
Not the British Oak, not the Royal Oak. The British Oak, Royal Oak, big in Headingley.
Well, that's over road from over road. Well, they're all pubs there, isn't it? To be fair, on the corner, it goes around.
Original Oak.
Is it? I don't know the name of it. To be fair, in massive beer garden.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. So I watched that in there with another probably a few hundred Leeds fans. It was absolutely wild.
Massive gaff,
but I'd still prefer to be safe before then. Do you know what I mean? It's just. And look, this is going to come with the territory. If we get promoted, it is the original Oak, yeah. If we do get promoted, it isn't going to be like this season, which is why we've got to enjoy these moments where we're actually a bit of a bigger fish in a smaller pond, if you will. I don't particularly like that term because I think it's pretty think it's pretty rude.
Yeah,
On the rest,
rude. I think it's rude
on the rest of the rest of the league. So, but yeah, we are ultimately that cash cow, that big club in a league that probably is a little bit too low for us. But right now, where we are is the Premier League, that little bit too high for us. Only time will tell. But look, with the right backing, with the right people and the right recruitment, there's no reason why we can't have a decent season next year. If we get promoted, when we get promoted, however you want to look at it.
Yeah. What games are you up for? I know there's obvious ones, Luke, but what's your sort of favourite fixture in Prem?
It's obviously Scum home or away.
Hard not to say that, innit?
Yeah, Newcastle home and away, always really good and loud as well. Really enjoy. We played them New Year's Eve one year. When we were in the Prem away and went out at a banging night on the Toon. So yeah, there's a few, mate, but just the usual stuff, really. If Sheffield United get promoted, that'll be good in the Premier League as well, because we'll both be a similar level. So I expect that'll be quite tasty. The games that I don't really look forward to are playing teams like Bournemouth, who are good, but they're shit. They're a good side, but they're a nothing club to me. Brentford, another one not asked about. Brighton, not really particularly asked about. Big games in it, your Liverpools and your proper clubs, West Ham. Yeah, there's plenty to look forward to in that league, man. But if we can get there, but I just hated it, like going to away days and hearing fans and just even home fans and just seeing them all sat down, and it's just not, football's not what it used to be. Even the stadiums are. I remember going to White Hart Lane years ago and thinking it was quite intimidating. We went to this new stadium, and it was like I expected John Bon Jovi to come out at half time and start singing. Honestly. Football's dying for me anyway.
My brother went to White Hart Lane, and he said it worked because he lived in London for quite a long time in Middle Brother, and so whenever we went down south for a game, he'd go, and he said it were meant, and I never really expected that with Tottenham fans, but he said it were like how you queued up. You'd queue up like in a line next to like a load of like crazy fans, like chucking stuff at you, and
you're quite close to the ground as well. In that, it was when you were quite close to White Hart Lane was really close to the pitch.
Yeah,
you were right.
Stadiums were like that though. A lot of stadiums, like Highbury, were like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But really close.
Majority of them, Goodison's a bit like that, but obviously they're moving as well next season. So it's going to be. It is dying, and it's becoming monopolised, and everybody's just trying to make a quick buck out. Well, not even a quick buck, but a lot of money out of football. And it's unfortunately it is killing it a bit for me, because you can see it in the fans. Even home games now at Leeds aren't what they used to be recently. But I don't know if that's a lot to do with this expectation that we're going into games expecting to win. I think if we went up, I would hope that atmosphere might come back, because the players do feed off it.
It is, Luke. I really believe that myself. I mean, I stopped going in Prem. Well, I can't. To be fair, I can't remember. Yeah, I stopped going, but I think, and then went to odd game and that. But when we were bad, the atmosphere wasn't any better either, were it? So I know there's like more of a cult following in there, so you still sort of give it big licks and that. But when I think the full crowds are turning up now, and it by definition it's gonna sort of like expand and be a bit more. If it's expectation, there's too many people there that we're expecting to win. Because to be honest, I don't turn up to, I don't know, Norwich at home and think I've got it. Although having said that, Norwich were best atmosphere I've ever heard, in playoffs. But the first time we played Norwich, it's just that I'm not going to turn up fuming. Do you know what I mean? Like, so bang up for this, like, let's get behind side. It's like, it just, that doesn't happen. Whereas, I keep going on about Crystal Palace, but it really sticks out on me when we went up and they bummed us, and I was like, oh man, that was like the worst one for me. It's like, that
was the turning point of that relegation season, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it just sticks in my mind. We just got battered. I remember that where Eze scored.
Andre Ayew, didn't he? I think got a couple as well.
And it was just like, oh my god, that's what really depresses me. I can sort of handle it against top teams, and I'm not knocking Crystal Palace because they're a side, aren't they? They're a club. Yeah. But it's like, you need the points here. We need something from this game, and then you're getting beat 4-1 or whatever. It's like, this
Yeah,
don't
because
go
we played
well.
really well first half as well, didn't we?
Yeah, we did
And
all
then
right.
came out at half time after half time, and it was just like I think we scored within like 90 seconds, and then scored another 2 or 3 or something. Yeah, it was a bit of a fucking hiding that day.
Yeah, man. So there's plenty to look forward to in Prem, but there's also, I mean, I'll take it because if we don't go up, it gets a lot worse for everybody at the club, doesn't it?
A lot harder to go up, doesn't it? You know, 3 teams coming down again. So we would have been the 7th team then in the championship, probably to have come down, unless the 2 go back up, and then we'd be 5th. But yeah, it's going to get tougher if we don't go up. But hey, Jack, I am quietly confident, and I say 75-25%, but I think that's probably more heart than head, saying 75-25. I think realistically, obviously any team in the league would rather be us right now. Any team in the league. So realistically, if I was a neutral, I would be saying Leeds United are 99% up.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I know what you mean with that. If you stopped watching Leeds for a few weeks,
yeah,
you know, if you just viewed this like a lot of pundits view, like they just flick through, don't they, and go, well, they're in this form, they're in that, and they just go, oh, it's a little blip that you're on. Still won 2 games in the last 5, like, you know, only lost 1 in that. They'll win the next couple of games. Everybody will forgot about it. I do think these next 2 games, Swansea and Luton, because you said you're a bit worried about Luton, Luke. I know Joe is as well. I'm all right. I don't know why. For some reason. I know they're in decent form, aren't they? But I'm not bothered for that one.
Yeah, they play Hull at Hull this weekend. Hull obviously found a bit of form as well with Joffrey there, got player of the month. But yeah, I don't know what it is about Luton as well, mate. I just think I've just got this horrible feeling that I seem to think that they're in good form, and I don't know if I've imagined that, Jack. I can't find their results anywhere. I've been looking.
No, Luton have.
Oh yeah, there we are. Beaten Cardiff, drew with Middlesbrough, got smashed by Burnley, beat Portsmouth at home, got beat by Watford, drew with Plymouth, got beat by Sheffield United, beat by Sunderland. So they've not. I mean, I've probably been a little bit too fair to him.
Sorry, not Luke. Joe's not up for that fixture either. He don't like that Luton one. So it's not, and you know we've got to go there, haven't we, as well? And
it's there, and it's a 12:30 kick-off. You know what I mean? It's not quite London. It's not quite London, but it is an intimidating atmosphere. Kenilworth Road. It's not. It's a weird old stadium. So yeah, it doesn't.
But they need points.
It doesn't excite me that fixture. It will be that game. We will either absolutely tonk them 4 or 5, or it'll be a real gritty, horrible fixture, and we might lose or draw.
Yeah, agreed. Right, Luke, should we do a few of your tweets?
Let's do it.
A few of your tweets loaded up here, so I thought we might as well, because you know you are the Twitter.
I'll talk you through my thinking.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about this quite seriously as well. To be fair, we spoke about it a little bit beforehand, but there's been a lot because it gets a lot of stick. This, so I mean, I don't know if there's any need for me to read it out because everybody can see, I presume. But Leeds fans, we want Premier League football to sign better players on higher wages, an upgraded stadium with better facilities to boot. Also, Leeds fans, whoa, I ain't contributing to that though, which, funnily enough, rhymes, which is why it resonates with me so much, Luke. What's
Get into a wrap.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Because it's a 14% increase or something this year? Yeah,
apparently so. I mean, I don't care. First of all, because I don't have a season ticket. So I don't. It doesn't. Maybe I am looking at it biased, but I also tried looking at it from a perspective that if I was a season ticket holder, how much would it bother me? Now the realism is, it's not going to make that much difference to me, an extra 70 quid. But I can see why it might to somebody else. You know, they've got a month to pay it as well, 78 quid, whatever it is. But I suppose my argument is, look, we want all these nice things, but we don't want to pay for them. That's how it looks to me, you know, with all the people that are moaning and complaining and pissing about online. Maybe they just want something to moan about because there's been no football and Melia haven't made a howler, or, you know, Mateo Joseph hasn't scored or whatever. But I think for me, it's more about, I pay for a season ticket. I live circa 200 miles away from Leeds now, and I get to as many Leeds games as I can in a season. But I also pay for a season ticket to Wakefield Trinity. Now that's rugby league, completely different kettle of fish in terms of funding, revenue, that sort of thing. But I also then give my ticket away because I can't get there that much because Leeds games are on. Also, I don't travel up just for a Wakefield game. So what I do is I give my ticket to one of my friends, any of my friends, and ask them to make a donation to charity so they can use my ticket for that particular game. That's my giving back to the club. And I know it's probably on a grander scale with Leeds United, but we can't, I don't think, expect them to actually increase the size of the stadium, to buy the better players, to have the current squad that we've got on such good wages, the highest wages in the league, and expect things to stay the same on our end. That's my way of looking at it from a completely unbiased perspective. However, from a biased perspective, I simply don't care that they've gone up, because if I do get tickets, I have to pay a substantial amount more than that. People go on about loyalty to me. What has that loyalty got you? That loyalty has got you a seat around your mates, guaranteed for every home game of the season, for much less than an average member or general admission would have to pay for that particular seat. So I get it. Should loyalty be rewarded as well? Yes, but I would argue that probably is rewarded with the fact that they don't have to queue on websites week in, week out for those tickets. And I hear people's points, and I say this I do say this, take this with a pinch of salt, but some people will find that extra 40% incredibly difficult to afford this year. And I anticipate some people will lose the season tickets, which I don't think people should have to do. So I do sit on a fence very, very slightly on that. But yeah, it is what it is. We can't expect to not pay any increase. Would people be happier if it was 8, 9, 10%? I suspect not, because they would still argue that it's an increase. So yeah, for me, fairly balanced perspective, I think, Jack.
Yeah, I agree, Luke. And on that, I can see the humour in what you're saying there. This is my whole point with your tweets.
Yeah.
So whether or not I agree or disagree with that, I agree. I know I agree with you, because I know what you're doing. Do you know what I mean? It's not. She's having a bit of fun with it as well. Like, going, whoa, like, I know you're playing, but I understand. I understand you're. I mean, I know you as well, so I know you're a proper bloke, like a decent bloke, and you don't want, you don't want anybody paying any more money for anything, do you? Like, you don't want. I'm sure you don't want my milk to be any more expensive than it.
No, exactly. I mean?
It's like you're not wanting me to lose money. That's not what you're saying, but it's like you can't have everything, and not. There has to be a bit of a yin and yang, doesn't there, to stuff?
Of course there does. Yeah, for every reaction and all that sort of bollocks. But yeah, it's. If you think that's bad, wait till you see the price increases on beer next season.
Exactly, everything.
Is everyone going to moan about that online then, and food and whatever else? Because ultimately, it is the same. And look, is football too much anyway? I would argue yes. I think it's too expensive to go watch football anyway. But that's beside the point. Whilst things are going to increase in price, and whilst supply outweighs, demand outweighs supply, there is always going to be that the club will always, they're an investment group. They're here to make more money than what they spend. They're not that. That's the job. Yeah, absolutely.
And ultimately, if we want to succeed, because we could have a couple. Me and you could have a bash at being chairman, couldn't we? With the limited funds, and then we could spiral down and go, well, yeah, but tickets are cheap, and you can always get a ticket and all that stuff. Be as well. I'm just handing out cans when everybody's walking in. I mean, we can do that, no problem. But nobody
doing body shots off the bar and
that. yeah. But nobody wants that. They all want Champions League, don't they? So,
of course they do.
I mean, I think the actual income of games is peanuts to them in the grand scheme of things, because obviously there's that much money flying around. But and people would say, well, the players get paid, but that's the market, isn't it? It's the same thing. The players don't come in. I agree, players get paid probably too much. I'm not bothered. I think that's the De Bruyne earns that money. He owes that money. He's owed that money. Do you know what I mean? That's how it is. You get given a contract, you take it, don't you?
Yeah, and I think I did the maths on it earlier. I think the increase on an average season ticket is around about £4 a game, and I worked it out to be, if we're in the Premier League, it's around about 2 million that we'll make just off the season ticket holders. So if you add in the price increases on your general admission, because I think there's about 27,000 season tickets, 10,000.
Yeah,
we're probably looking at about £3 million a season just on those increases. That buys Yeo Tanaka.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I don't know what the cut. I mean, I know that money won't be put in a side pot for one specific transfer. I understand.
No, I'm not saying that. But that's
I'm not naive.
that's just putting it into the terms that it is, though, isn't it? There's still money because I'm saying it's peanuts. I'm just on about with the money floating around in football. I'm not. That's serious money. If that stops coming in, you know, that's in the books, isn't it? They are prepared for that money to come in. So if it stops, they'll, you know, protect.
Now the counter argument is if we don't get promoted, we're paying. We are paying a very high price for a season ticket in the Championship. Then
I agree.
In comparison, I think the club probably or possibly should have said, if we don't get promoted, it's frozen.
Did they do that last year? I can't remember what they did last year.
I think it was under Rads, actually. I think it might have been the season before that.
Right.
No, not last season. I think it might have not the season before that we came down. I think it was it in the Premier League when they said if we go down, then it'll stay frozen?
I know they did it.
They did it one season, 100%. Yeah.
And I do think we'd be owed that slightly, to be fair, because we are pushing. But then we're watching decent football, so and we win a load of games next year. So
yeah,
I don't know, but yeah, I think you've articulated that excellently, Luke. So yeah,
thank you.
Another one.
There we go.
Another one, yeah. So this one's a bit more jovial. But you saw this on Facebook Marketplace, did you? Not a fan?
No, I think it was. Do you know what? I didn't admit to this, but I would probably buy that if that was.
Oh, you're a legend! I'm so glad. Because I swear down, I saw that. This is what I mean in there. That's what I mean. I'm looking at it thinking like, I don't know if I mind that. So,
shall we buy a couple to go watch Harry Mackin?
Yeah, man, 100%. I saw somebody in your comments as well put something like, "Oh, it's for the Balenciaga crew, or whatever." And I thought, well, I don't really like Balenciaga's not one of my mates, really. I'm not keen, but if that's the Balenciaga crew, then maybe I am part of that crew. Because
maybe
I'm all
because if you look at the detail, the little dots you can see are actually the Leeds United smiley badge.
Is it really? Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't see it from here, but if you zoom in, I don't know. Can you zoom in on there?
I don't know because I've dragged it in. I'm very new to this system, Luke. So you probably
can. But yeah, there are actually. Let me get up on mine. I'll share my screen. 2 seconds with you. Share.
Because I like the zip and everything on it. You know, I'm not really a collar man or a football shirt man. I don't really wear them out. I wear them around the house and what have you. But
yeah,
I wear my hoodie, but I'm not. Yeah.
Can you chuck that in? Can you see that?
Oh yeah, I can indeed. Yes.
And I'll just zoom it. There we go. So if I zoom in on that, look
at this.
It's not letting me zoom. It's just zooming everything else in, mate. It's not letting me do it. That's a shame. But yeah, basically the little details here are all Leeds United smileys, and then there's little dots interconnecting them. But I'll try and get a better picture. I'll zoom in and I'll upload it to Twitter, and you can put it in your comments on here or whatever.
Yeah, man, do it. Because I would. So they are actually for sale.
They're for sale on. They're just some dodgy company on Facebook. It was just in my. Just on my feed one day. I don't even use Facebook that often, but obviously it's quite clever, isn't it?
Yeah, algorithms are joking it.
Yeah, the algorithms are. I was just scrolling through and that came up. I was like, what in the
That's a good one. Looks too pimpy for me, but I'm 61. I don't think the 61-year-old pimp would still wear it, wouldn't they? So
yeah.
It's, to be fair, it is a bit pimpy. And then by far the most controversial one, Luke, which absolutely needs addressing. So is just had my tea, just had this for tea. A microwavable Mexican rice, which is fine. Tin of tuna, fine. Spray of pickled onion Monster Munch mayo. Generous splash of tingled red spicy sauce. Mixed it up. Don't at me. Speak to me.
Don't at me.
Yeah. I cannot imagine that. I want to know what a spray of pickled onion Monster Munch mayo is, though.
So there's a Hellman's mayonnaise called pickled onion Monster Munch.
I didn't know that.
Monster Munch flavour. I'm just trying to get healthy again, and that was like the most healthy things I had in my cupboard. So I just put them all in, put the microwavable rice in, opened a tin of tuna, plenty of protein in there. But I thought it was a bit dry, so I chucked some Monster Munch mayo in, and then some Tingly Ted spicy sauce on top of it.
And did that go as is red? So did it start and then you thought, rice in microwave, like I'll start with that, and then you open cupboard, into tuna.
Yeah, absolutely in that order.
Yeah, and then the mix and thought, no, not enough. Bit of Monster Munch mayo. I'll try that Monster Munch mayo, because I'm very partial to some Monster Munch. I enjoyed the generous splash of tingled red spices as well. It got me.
Yeah, have you had the Tingly Ted sauce?
Tingly Ted? Tingly
Yeah.
Red?
No, it's Tingly Ted's.
Have you spelled it wrong on your own thing?
Yeah, I did put underneath, I think, in the reply.
I just thought but to be honest, I think I misread it in the first place. I didn't know you meant Monster Munch mayo. I thought spray of pickled onion Monster Munch, and then I thought you meant mayo, and then mixed it all up. So I thought you put some Monster Munch in there and like razzled it round.
No, it's actually flavored mayonnaise. Yeah, it's a proper thing.
BMG says leave out the rice and it's more healthy. But you need something in there, don't you?
Yeah, I'd have to eat 4 portions if I didn't have any rice in it.
Did you get that from the recently divorced man's recipe book?
Not far off.
But yes, Luke. Oh, I just want to quickly say as well, because you get to quite a few away games, don't you? But you take your daughter.
Yeah, I do. I try and get her to as many games as she can. She's at that age now where she's taking a bit of an interest. I've taken her since she was little, actually. I took her first game, I think, was I think it was Ipswich away, actually, when she was probably 2 or 3. But yeah, taken her to a few. She's been to West Ham with me, Norwich. Yeah, it's been to a few. Who's been to this season? Watford, a couple more.
She loves it, though, is it? I've seen her on Instagram. And you were doing that. You were like doing the shirts, like you had to pick the order of your favorite shirts.
That's it. Yeah.
That, man. And she was instant with her answers. Like she wasn't waiting for your lead whatsoever. And I was like,
but there was one we disagreed on. I think it was the pink rhubarb and custard.
Yeah. But you knew, you went, oh, you like this one, don't you? And she was like, yes, like number one.
I was like, I'm not having that number one. No chance. That's never my number one. But yeah, no, she's keen. She started playing as well, which is why I don't get to as many games now. She plays on a Saturday morning. Yeah. Which obviously when we're living so far away is quite difficult. So yeah, I don't get to as many as I'd like to, especially specifically aways. But I do get to some if they're relatively local. So and then the majority of home games as well.
Yeah. Awesome, Lukey. Well, cheers for your time, dude. And
pleasure, bud.
Have you got alt that you want to? Because obviously you're on Orta Know Better, and is alt you want to shout out or whatever? I'm sure everybody that watches mine watches yours anyway, but.
No, just head on over, give us a watch. We're pretty similar to you, Jack. We don't take life too seriously. We're not data nonsense or anything like that. We play what we see, and it's a bit of fun, bit of a tap room vibe. 2 or 3 of us usually on after a game, and then we do a Tuesday night where we do a main pod. So if you haven't been over, do pop over and say hello and tell them you've come from Jack, and we'll look after you.
Absolutely, yeah, they're good lads. So it's worth a watch without a doubt. I agree. So yes, I'll be live after here as well, guys. I'm gonna it'll swap over or whatever it does, and I will be live for an hour or so after. Have a few beers, and we'll bitch about Luke behind his back while he's not watching. That's the plan. So cheers, everybody. Cheers, Luke. Thank you, mate. Speak to you soon.
Pleasure, mate. Cheers.
Bye.
Boom.